Okay, we are on our last lesson finally. So, last thing we're going to talking about is solving proportions. So, remember that a proportion right here is two fractions with an equal sign in between them. We call that a proportion. Yeah, two fractions with an equal sign in between them. What we're going to do here, whenever we have a proportion like this, a lot of you guys kind of remember that we are going to cross multiply to get rid of those fractions. The fractions kind of screw us up. We're like, ooh, how do I start solving this? Yeah. Well, when we cross multiply, the whole point of that is the fractions are gone. I see a lot of kids sometimes cross multiply and then still put it in a fraction. The fractions are gone after that. We have A times D becomes one side of our equal sign, on one side, and then B times C becomes the other side. So once more, the point of cross multiplying is the fractions are gone. That's what we want. Now, once you cross multiply, we have all of these things that we do from there, right? There's going to be possibly distribution, combining like terms, isolating the variable, all that stuff. All the stuff we've been practicing is possibly going to happen again. Now, a little reminder here on when we have negative fractions. For some reason, this isn't showing up. I'm not sure if it's in your guys' notes. Negative 4/3 means that only the 4 is negative or the 3 is negative. We can't say they're both negative. We wouldn't say negative 4 over negative 3 because a negative over a negative gives us a positive, and this is telling us it's negative 4/3. So again, if you see this where the negative is out on the side, just pick one of the numbers to put the negative on. It doesn't matter. I'll typically pick the top. But again, it's not that both the 4 is negative and both the 3 is negative. Otherwise, that would make a positive. So we're going to keep that in mind as we go. Let's go ahead and look at this first one. So we have two fractions. Again, that looks scary to us. We're like, ooh, how do I solve that? Well, two fractions that equal, we're going to cross multiply. So my first one I have here is x times 8. That's going to be my first term, equals 5 times negative 3. And then there's my equation. So x times 8, well, x times 8 is kind of weird to look at, but we know that means the exact same thing as 8x, right? That is x times 8. And then I have 5 times negative 3. Take a moment just to think, what does that get me? That's negative 15. Once you cross multiply, you see your equation, you're like, oh, I just do whatever I need to do. This one's not going to work out evenly, but that's okay. That happens sometimes, right? Doesn't mean you're wrong. So go ahead and solve this one. It's just one little thing you got to do, and then we'll check. Okay, you should have only divided by 8 because now we're trying to get that x by itself, right? That 8's going over. Make it easy for yourself. Leave your answer like that. Negative 15 over 8. So again, a couple key points here. When you cross multiply, the fractions are gone. That's the point. Cross multiply, there's one side of your equation. Other cross, there's the other side. So let's try this again now, making this a little bit harder. So we're still going to cross multiply here because these are two fractions that equal to each other. But whenever we see something like this, where it's not just x, right? In this case, it was just x here. But here I've got x minus 7 and x minus 2. What I want you to do is before you do anything, add some parentheses here. So it makes clear what we're trying to do here. When I cross multiply this, it's 2 times all of x minus 7. So that's why when I cross multiply, here's how we're going to write this. 2 times all of x minus 7. You should be looking at that and know, hey, I'm going to have to do something there. Now I'm going to cross multiply the other side. Again, here's my first cross multiplication, and then I put equals. Over here, I'm going to put the other cross multiplication. So take a minute to write out then, what would that be? We have 4 times x minus 2. How would I write that? 4 times x minus 2. Again, this was this multiplication. this was this multiplication. We set them equal to each other. There are no more fractions. So I want you to go from here and solve this because we've done a problem like that before. We did a problem like this yesterday. Do your distribution and then solve, like how we should. Okay, distribution over here, this is 2 times x is 2x. 2 times a negative 7, that's negative 14, equals. I have 4 times x, and 4 times a negative 2, that's negative 8. So once we do the distribution, we just do what we got to do. We got to move our variables to one side and then go from there. I'm going to choose to move the 2x over. You could have chosen to move the 4x, but I'm choosing to move the 2x. And I am subtracting because I'm trying to take, here's my line, I'm trying to take the whole thing over to the other side. So all of 2x, I'm subtracting it. I'm not separating 2 and x just yet. I'm just taking all of 2x to the other side. So what we have left over here, that is a negative 14. Don't drop that sign. It's attached to it. Equals, this is 4x minus 2x gives me a positive 2x and a minus 8. I, at this point, want to get the x by itself. So I'm going to start moving things over this direction, away from my x, right? I want to get that x by itself. So everything's going to go over to the left. So you should have added 8 if this was the case. We still have 2x. That's gone. And negative 14 plus 8, this should be negative 6. Divide by 2. You should get x equals negative 3. So it takes a little bit longer to solve because we got several steps here. Being very careful, guys. Don't drop any of your signs. Okay, so once more, when you see a proportion where we've got not just a plain old x by itself, put it in parentheses. And then when you cross multiply, you're going to have to do some distribution. So I want you to try it again on this one. Hello. Batteries?
And stickers for your test.
Oh, thank you.
For your class.
Awesome.
And I cleared up things with Victoria. They are renting them. We're renting them for 10.
Okay.
So
Do
she
you have
changed the
some
system.
kids?
They got charged 20.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if we can get their $10 back.
Okay.
I'll give her time to.
I don't know what happened. Yeah, because I had some kids, they were like, she told me 20, she told me 10, she told me just take this.
Oh, take it also?
Like, I think one kid said they got it for free. I'm like, so I have no idea.
Okay. I'll tell her if she can please, we'll tell the kids once give me time to communicate and say, can you please refund the $10 for those that we charged 20?
Yeah, because you told me. Was I being crazy? Like, have you guys not ranked calculators the past couple years?
No, we haven't. I just kept going.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just I was like.
I mean, I know last year, obviously. Oh,
right.
I don't know if we did last year.
For the last
Okay.
yeah, so I'm just like, I'll resend that email and we'll clear things up. Everything going well?
Yeah, actually, I did my first lab with my physics class yesterday. We started it yesterday. But it did in cafeteria because we needed to lay out like 5-meter sticks to plot like position versus time, a little car. And it went really well. I mean, I was really nervous because I didn't do like any labs last year.
Right.
But that went really well. AP Stats is going very well, but I feel kind of bad. So I had 37 kids, and I had 3 more kids come and ask me if they could switch in. 2 of them switching out of AP Bio. And I'm like, I don't want to poach you for another, because it's the same hour.
Okay.
So it'd be like a direct.
So I figured it 85.
Yeah, and they're kids I had in physics last year. I don't know if you have them in DC, Neftali and Giovanni. Yeah, they're very, especially Neftali, but Giovanni too, very, very math-minded.
Right.
And so they liked physics better, and so they're like, I don't know if I want to do bio.
Who's the teacher?
Heather Livingood. Apparently there was a handful of kids who've been trying to drop it already, so yeah, I don't know why, but
Yeah, that's the tough part.
yeah.
You want to take away from other groups, but if it fits.
Right.
Kids' math math oriented and I go in the science field.
Yeah, one Neftali said he does stick with bio because he wants to do biochemistry, I think. In college, he's like, yeah, I'm going to do biology. The other, well, one of them, Giovanni, yeah, is in AP Bio. The other kid, Enrique, I might be able to get in. If you know Enrique, last name, Ibarra or something.
Okay.
It's going from photography. So that will be an issue, but there's nothing that'd be an issue. But yeah, I feel, especially when they were saying, because like one of the kids, Giovanni was like asking Heather about it, and several other kids heard, and they were like, "We can switch to stats." Like, well, okay, can't
Right.
do that.
Right. Don't open the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The floodgates. So.
All right.
But
let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
And we'll bring it up in those AP meetings.
Yeah.
We gotta keep an eye on each other, and if it's a better fit for the kid, it's okay to do that.
Yeah, it's tough though.
You just gotta keep everybody's numbers up.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, have a good day there.
Yep. Okay, crap, where was I? Okay, so I want you guys to try this one. Sorry, I had to talk to Mr. Garcia real quick. Try this one. Again, your hint is put parentheses around the things that are not just x. When we cross multiply, what that means is we're going to have some distribution. Go ahead and give this one a shot. Okay, so we've got negative 5 times x minus 1 on one side. And then I've got 2 times x minus 8. Sorry, x plus 8. What in the world? That's also a plus sign. On the other side. Again, guys, this is key to cross multiplying. The whole point is there's no more fractions. We want to get rid of them. Stop putting your answers in fractions once you cross multiply, because cross multiplying gets rid of the fractions. That is the point. Okay, from here, we should have distributed this negative 5 out. I have a negative 5 times x. I have a negative 5 times a positive 1. That gives me negative 5. Check your signs. I have a 2 times x. That's 2x. I have a 2 times a positive 8. That's a positive 16. So solving from here, I have my choices. I can do whatever I want, though again, we really need to move our x's to one side. That should be your first step. So just so that you guys can see, there's lots of different ways. I'm going to go ahead and move the 2x this time. It doesn't matter. I could move the 5x. If I were to move the 5x, I would be adding 5x to both sides because I'm doing the opposite. I'm going to move the 2x though, and I'm going to subtract it. It does not matter which you do as long as you proceed correctly from there. So negative 5 minus 2 in my calculator. There's no shame. If I don't know what negative 5 minus 2 is, put it in the calculator. This is negative 7x. And then we still have minus 5. And we still have 16. So always skim through and be careful that you're not dropping anything we still have. Now, my x is right here. What that means is I need to move everything to the right. This stuff needs to go over here. Now, again, I can't just pop it over to the other side. We have to do the opposite. So we should be adding 5. We have negative 7x. This is gone. Negative 5, positive 5. Those cancel each other out. This gives me a 21 over here. And we should be dividing by negative 7. So regardless of how you did this problem, you should have come out to have a negative 3. I don't know why we keep getting the same answers over and over again. It happens. Okay, so you're going to try this one more time. That's it. Notice here we talked about this. Look at that little negative that is on the outside. What that means is you can choose, and it's not going to matter. You can either make the 2 negative or the 3 negative, but not both. So try this one all the way through. Cross multiply, see what you need to do. Make sure you only made either 2 or 3 negative, not both. Okay, so I'm going to choose to make the 2 negative. It's just my choice. So this is going to have over here negative 2 times 15. That's going to go right here, yeah? What that means is when I cross multiply over here, I have a positive 3. I could have made the 3 negative. It still works out as long as I made the 2 positive. So I'm choosing to make the 3 positive because, again, only one of them can be negative. And then we solve from here. Let's go and see what we got. We got negative 30 equals 3 times x is 3x. 3 times a negative 2 is negative 6. Notice I don't have any x's that I need to move around. I only have the 1 x here as opposed to 2 x's on both sides. So I'm going to start moving everything away from my x. So you should add 6. Careful with your signs. Negative 30 plus 6. If you go to the calculator, that should give you a negative 24. I have 3x. That is still there. And this is gone. Again, sweep through left to right. Make sure you're not missing anything. I should divide by 3 for my last step and get x equals negative 8. Okay, so from here, guys, again, this is our last assignment. You've got the rest of the time to work. Hopefully, this is making sense, and we're getting enough practice with this that when we do the review tomorrow, we'll be ready for our test on Thursday.